Okay, today we're going to talk about SOH CAH TOA stuff. So 7.2. Okay, so here's what SOH CAH TOA means. The SOH acronym comes from the sine of the angle is the ratio of an opposite side to the hypotenuse side. The CAH is that the cosine of an angle is the ratio of the adjacent side to the hypotenuse. Okay, so these letters always represent the top and bottom of a fraction, and the first letter represents which trig you're going to use, sine, cos, or tan. So now, TOA means the tan ratio is the opposite side divided by the adjacent side. Okay, what do we always know? The hypotenuse is always the longest side, and it's always directly across from the 90. Adjacent means that you're right beside the angle, and opposite means you're across from the angle. Okay, so if I give you this first one here, if you're going to label, so I'm talking about this one, if you're going to label, the hypotenuse would be here, across from the 90. Your opposite would be over here, across from the angle X, and your adjacent would be down there, because you're right beside the angle. So let's try one more here. So in this second triangle, I always do my H first, across the right. Now I go across from the angle, so that's an opposite, and then right beside the angle is my adjacent. Okay? So understanding where is the opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse of every triangle. Okay, let's look at these examples here. Okay, example 1. How far up the wall is the ladder? Okay. So, here's my triangle. I know my ladder is 10. I know that it's going to have a ground and a wall making 90 degrees. And I know 74 degrees. Okay, so you start with giving me OA and H. So here's my H. This is the across, the opposite. And then this is the adjacent, beside the angle. Alright? Now, I want to know how far up the wall, so I want to know that. So when you look at this, you say, which of those 3 letters do I not care about? And that's the A. So an O and an H make a SOH ratio. That's the SOH. So I go, the sine of the angle is the opposite, so I don't know that, over the hypotenuse. Okay? Now I always make this over 1 so that I know to cross multiply. So I multiply and divide. Okay, cross multiply. So in my calculator, I make sure my calculator says D or DEG for degrees. And I go sine 74 times 10 equals 9.61. Okay? Example 2. This 20-meter tower needs a support cable as shown. So how long is the cable? So we know this tower is 20 meters. The tower will be 90 degrees with the ground, and we know this is 60 degrees. How long is the cable? So that's what I want to know. So give me OA and H. So start with your H. That's located there. Here's my angle, so now I'm opposite and I'm adjacent. Which 3, out of these 3, which one don't you care about? The A. So again, I'm left with an OH, which is the SOH. So I go, the sine of the 60 is the ratio of its opposite side, 20, over the hypotenuse. Now I always put this over 1. So now I know to do 20 times 1 and divide it by 60. So I don't need to do 20 times 1, that's just 20. Divide it by sine 60 and you get 23.09. Okay, and I knew that side was the longest, right? So it better be longer than the 20 because it's the hypotenuse. Okay, next example. During winter, Kim and Bo snowmobile to each other's place. How far is it from each friend's place to the nearest town? Okay, so we'll draw this 5.5, 24 degrees. Okay, so I want to know this distance and this distance. So let's call this x and let's call this y. Okay, so two different things. So this is going to be the hypotenuse, this is going to be the side opposite, and this is the adjacent side to the angle. Okay, so now let's do the y. So when I do the y, I don't care about this side, so I have a SOH ratio. So I'm going to go the sine of 24 equals a opposite side over hypotenuse. So now I'm going to do sine 24 times 5.5. So sine 24 times 5.5 equals 2.24. And now when I do the x, I cover this side up. So you can see a and a h, so I'm doing CAH. So I go, the cosine of my angle is the ratio of the a over the h. Okay, if I put that over 1, I know to multiply. So cos 24 times 5.5 is 5.02 kilometers. Okay, let's do this one right here. A firefighter places a ladder to the top of a 13-meter building. How far is the ladder from the building? Okay, so there's my triangle. And I'm going to say that this is my h, okay, and this is the opposite, and this is the adjacent. So out of those three, I don't care about the h. So if I have an O and an A, I'm going to go with the TOA ratio. So tan of 75 degrees is the ratio of the O divided by the A. So now, if I put this over 1, you can see that I'm going to take 13 divided by tan 75 and get 3.48 meters. Okay, last example here. Jenna placed a ladder 10 feet from her house in order to paint. How high will her ladder reach up the wall? Okay, so give me an H first. This one's opposite and this one's adjacent. I don't care about this H. So now an OA make TOA. So tan of 72 is the opposite over the adjacent. So now this would be a timesing those two. Okay, so 10 times tan of 72 equals 30.78 feet. Okay, if you want, I can go back and give you this one here. A tower support cable is 100 feet. So that's here. And how far from the base is the cable pegged in the ground? Okay, so that's what you want to know. So now I'm going to go with this as my H, this is opposite, and this is adjacent. So out of those three, I don't care about that one. So this is a AH, is a CAH. So cos of 60 is the ratio of the adjacent side over the hypotenuse side. So if I put this over 1, I'm going to multiply, and I don't need to divide by 1. So cos of 60 times 100 is 50 feet. That's SOH CAH TOA.